In our little town, so serene, where the grass is green, the air so clean, we gather round the table every night, joyful days, oh was I yet, with values passed from generations past, living life with love that surely lasts. As the city lights look bright, we hold to our roots tight, in our hearts the same old fires, guided by the good old days. Sharing moments with friends always divine, working hard for what we seek, respecting each word we speak, holding dear to our family ties underneath these nostalgic skies. As the city lights so bright got too tight, in our hearts the same old fire. Yeah, oh yeah. We sway with every change of time, but in our hearts old love and soul, that made baby in our heart, getting like a garden in this fast-paced world we can fight. Traditions keep our hearts going wild, but you'll find in our hearts simple ways, we got it by the good old
days. We stand firm in our belief,
hold tight.
Through the times clearer we can see, crazy world spinning round.
Stay grounded.
In our hearts simple truths agree, whisper of freedom and liberty
rings true.
Our foundation strong and deep, holding on to what we know, while the rest of the world lets go. Steady paths we choose to follow, while the winds of change blow. In the story we've built for trust and doubt, time flies but we won't bend. Communists talk loud and fast,
stay silent.
Our quiet strength is our reply. So salute to change but pause,
reflect
in unity our dearest friend, holding on to what we know, while the rest of the world lets go. Steady paths we choose to follow, while the winds of change blow. In shadows we find our light, through chaos we stay upright.
Stay
with courage, faith on our side,
forever
standing firm our guide, holding on to what we know, while the rest of the world lets go. Steady paths we choose to follow, while the winds of change blow.
In the heart of the jungle there's a whisper. John Birch, a soldier, takes the lead. With the spirit so brave he conquers darkness. On his mission hear the call, take heed. Through the shadows red wild winds blow, he's seeking the truth where few dare to go. John in the heart of the wild, John on a journey so styled, John in the heart of the wild. he tells. Through the valleys and hills where the rivers cross, he fights for the ones who dwell in the shells. With every step he dances with pain, unraveling tales that forever await. John in the heart of the wild, John on a journey so styled, John in the heart of the wild. Through the battles, through the night, he carries a flame, a guiding light for every soul that's searching for peace in his heart. May the sorrow cease. John in the heart of the wild, John on a journey so styled, John in the heart of the wild.
And this is what we hold, values that keep us grounded still. Stand up for what is right, don't let the world make your will. Freedom and balance, it's here to stay. So let's embrace this life our way. Tradition calls, if you don't stand firmly, holding tight. If you let go of the reins, you'll miss your connection. So share a smile today in this community that we build. With love and respect, that's how our hearts can fill. We carry forward, we know our truth. In this great land, it's our time to move. If you want to stand firm in your lane, in new direction, hold it tight. If you let go of the reins, you'll miss your connection. Let's hold on to our dreams and cherish every moment. With values intact, we trust in them. We find our hope. Tradition calls. If you don't stand firm in your lane, you lose your direction. Hold it tight. If you let go of the reins, you'll miss your connection.
You know I'm standing firm while the world keeps a turning, trying to shake my freedom, but I ain't gonna frown. But darling, darling, hold your goblin hand. All you both can dictate, but I'm learning to stand with the spirit of the wild. Yeah, I'm ready to fight. I know my spanking soul. I got my eyes open. Hey, there I can't sway. I'm fighting for its rights, and call me the free range mind. Never gonna waver. I'm a rebel with a cause. While others search for safety, I'll be raising my voice. Honey, I got my dreams and live with all my woes. I'll be living for tomorrow. Let the whole world know. Cause freedom not a game, it's a rhythm in my soul. Reaching for the stars, yeah, that's how I roll. Baby, I can't sway. I'm fighting for my rights, and call me the free range mind. We got a fire burning, and it won't be tamed. With every stride and stride I take, I'll always proclaim, stand tall, stand proud, let the people know my name. In the night we rise, in the morning the same. Baby, I can't sway, I'm fighting for my rights, and call me the free-range mind.
Times are changing, feel the buzzing, staying true when they're fussing. Keep the flag a-flying through stormy nights. With the star-spangled banner, I stand tall with manners. Cross my heart with hope in sight. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and prairie, with liberty. Stick to values in the trends. Families gather, let's defend. Hold the line, keep the bond alive. Truth in our vision, in God we make decisions. For our dream, true, thrive and strive. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and prairie, with liberty. We'll keep fighting for what's right, standing strong in the night. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and bravery, with liberty.
To this episode of Culturama. Today is June 17th and it is Tuesday, and it seems as though the United States has officially entered into war. Ladies and gentlemen, isn't this such an exciting time? Truly, for those of us that have voted for Trump and had bigger hopes for the administration, seems to have fallen for it yet again. But thank you everyone that has joined us here today. We're going to be talking most and foremost and have the World War III coverage happening today. And I do have a sound effect for this. There we go. So we have a lot to cover here today in terms of what's happening internationally. There is obviously a lot going on, and first and foremost, we're going to be talking about that. But of course, to keep things lighthearted, we are also going to be proceeding with other topics a little bit later on in the show, because at an hour in, we also have a special guest. We have American David, or David of America, joining us here again to talk a little bit more about pop culture and a little bit about the war as well. But until then, we're going to be covering hard-hitting news here in Culturama. And for those that are new here, welcome to Culturama. On this show, we are trying to reclaim the discourse and the discussions that shape the American zeitgeist. So we can reintroduce American traditional values back into the United States, and one of which, maybe this word scares a lot of people, but isolationism, nationalism, those are the tenets and the principles of this show, or at least what I try to promote this tenet of the show. And that's something that I think the United States and the American people are craving yet again. It seems as though this administration currently doesn't seem to be on the right page. And listen, I have been a big proponent of Trump. I have been, and I still am, a supporter of Trump. But I gotta say, he has been racking up a few L's lately, and I'm not happy to see what is happening in terms of our international international approach and some of the interventionist policies and the headway that we're making in that front. And I take great issue with it, and I'm sure a lot of you that are watching do as well. But we will continue on forth with the stories that we have here today to cover that. Inside sources tell me, however, and you don't have to believe me, you can believe me if you want. You don't have to believe me. Insider sources tell me, however, that the neocons that have infiltrated and are involved in the periphery with this administration, however, are trying to divide and conquer the MAGA movement or the MAGA presence within the administration. Now, that's what I hear. So we'll see how things unfold in the future, especially within the next few days or to a week, and see how things progress. But until then, we can only stand by and watch. But anyways, like I was saying, please like and I was going to say actually, please like and share the stream and the Culturama. If you are new here, please follow us on Rumble or even consider subscribing. I stream every Tuesday and Thursdays. And sometimes I stream on Saturday on my gaming stream. So if you like video games, that's another option that you can watch as well. If you're watching on X, please like and retweet this stream as well. It will go a long way in spreading the word. And you will also be supporting a conservative network as well. So I do want to thank everyone that has joined, and I'm going to say hello to those that have joined. But before I do that, I also want to highly recommend that you visit the AP4 Liberty Shop as well. That is the letter A, the letter P, the number 4, libertyshop.com, and under the Culturama collection you can buy my best coffee. I am a humble coffee merchant, coffee peddler, so please, if you will, visit that website during one of the breaks and maybe consider purchasing yourself a bag of coffee or making consecutive purchases of the Culturama Atomic Blonde coffee to support the show, and it will give you that necessary vitality that you need to get through your workday. Anyways, I'm going to say hello to the guests, well, not the guests, the viewers in the chat here. And I do see some of my usuals already. I want to say hello to Barney Styles. Welcome, JJ, to the chat. See Sondroth, welcome. Bucks Nasty. We have Bucks Nasty in the chat. Fiery Waco. I didn't see you for a little while. Welcome, Fiery Waco. And, of course, we have Rowhouse. And Rowhouse is coming in through the gate saying, I don't want war with Iran. Neither do I, Rowhouse. And I don't think majority of Americans do. Either. What else are you guys saying here in the chat? Let's see. Barney Styles, let's get this apocalypse started while I'm sort of still young enough to enjoy it. Very well put, Barney Styles. JJ writes, it ain't World War III yet. Not yet, JJ. And maybe I'm jumping the gun here. Jumping the gun here. I clearly didn't have enough Atomic Blonde coffee to get this show started yet. But I'm drinking coffee as we speak, so I'll get there. It isn't World War III yet, and like I said, it remains to be seen how involved we will be. But you know, I was skeptical of Trump and his approach to this. He has been teetering back and forth as far as Israel is concerned for quite a while. And I personally found that, and not just myself, a lot of people online from what I saw found it quite concerning. And, you know, Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu made it no surprise. They were quite public and out that they wanted us directly involved. And I'm really hoping that Trump wouldn't bite the bullet on that one. But it seems to be the case that he did. And that is unfortunate. Now, what we will see moving forward is how the GOP will respond to this, and whether or not the GOP and primarily the neocons involved within that party will proceed to drag us into a war that none of us really want. And I've seen multiple polls already online done by big media figureheads like Charlie Kirk and so forth. And every poll I've seen by big accounts, I'm not just talking about smaller accounts like mine, big accounts, okay, with millions of followers, every single poll I've seen, it is a very unpopular position. And so it is very, how would I put this? I am not comfortable right now, at least as far as this issue is concerned, to call Trump a president of the people and to call him a populist president. I tweeted out earlier before this stream, I said, is it at all possible to have a president actually that's America first in our lifetimes? Because I do think and I do believe that was Trump's original intention. But, maybe he's hitting hard times. He said a lot of, did you guys see him at the, on Sunday with the 250th anniversary of the military? He didn't look too happy. He looked kind of rough in the pictures, okay? Him saying what he said about Tucker just recently, one of his greatest allies, what is that about? I don't know. I think that Trump's acting out a little bit, and I think this recent decision that he just made today, also rather concerning. I really hope he's not going scorched earth, considering that he originally was elected to be the man of the people, the man that we haven't had in a long time, in decades, to actually be a representative of the people, to embody the body politic and the spirit and the will of the people. And there's no will to get involved in this war. There's no will anymore for the foreign entanglements that we have been suffering under for quite some time. But like I said, we will respond and see how the GOP is reacting to it, and people of other parties, the Democrat Party specifically, and other worldviews as well. But I'm going to continue saying hi here, because I think we have new chatters in the stream. Let's see. And Fiery Waco. The Waco plan could end this war, the other war, and the next war. Exactly, Fiery Waco. Are you streaming this Thursday? Recent national Yes, so also, quick update for my usual watchers here in the show. Quick update, and I'll say this at the end of the show as well. There will not be a stream this Thursday and Saturday. I will be traveling. I'm going down to SoCal, Southern California, because I will be casting for the next Jubilee episode. So please wish me luck and send me good thoughts and prayers. So I actually have, effective debating skills there. But I will be traveling. So my apologies. Culturama will be back again a week from today, next Tuesday. So you can look forward to that. And hopefully by then we won't be nuked into oblivion by that point, okay? There's no reason to get in a ground war. We pay for 13 carrier groups for a reason. Nothing moves on this earth unless we allow it, says Barney Styles. Good point, Barney Styles. I have a couple clips to show you guys before we jump into today's stream. And before we get our guest on, because half an hour in, we're going to have American David talk a little bit about pop culture. But obviously before then, I first want to touch on some of the recent issues we've been facing. And from what I've heard, Donald Trump is supposed to make a public address here. Hope that's not going to go on during my stream. But actually, that actually will be more interesting. Never mind. Maybe he should. Let me play these clips for you guys so you can watch them here with me.
Israel strikes have significantly set back Iran's nuclear program. The urgency of the conflict prompting President Trump to leave the G7 summit early and return to D.C. He's having a Situation Room meeting today. Iran's foreign minister says the country remains committed to diplomacy. Trump telling reporters on Air Force One he's looking for something, quote, better than a ceasefire.
Let me know if the audio is a bit off, of course, but you guys are very vocal about that. Is it low volume? Oh, Let's see if that works. Thank you, Rojas.
We welcome now Mike Wagenheim, correspondent for the Jewish News Syndicate. It is wonderful to have you, sir. So Israel has now claimed air superiority. Recent reports indicate they've destroyed 1/3 of the launch capabilities of Iranians. Their top military commanders are dead. Do you think Iran is at a point now where they may have an appetite for signing a deal the U.S. would agree to avoid potentially a regime change?
The question is, are they willing to go down with the ship? Because it doesn't look like there's any other way out at this point for the Iranians. Again, their missile launch capacity is down. Their command infrastructure gone at this point. Khomeini reportedly holed up in a bunker. There's not a whole lot of options
decimated
right now for the Islamic Republic. So,
and I keep seeing conservative figureheads like Jack Pozo and others say that they would never support a regime change war, and a lot of us feel the same way. That in fact, I've seen a few people with fairly big followings state that there is no regime change happening. But I think it's getting rather clear more and more as more news is unfolding that this seems to be completely inclined and on the direction of regime change. In fact, I think that the previous Shah's son, was it, if I'm not mistaken, made a post about a potential regime change happening. I'll have to pull that up later and find it. I don't want to give misinformation here. But perhaps the next commercial break, I'll find that. But it seems to be right now, as far as all the information that we have, and again, this is all unfolding, so we don't have everything. It's whatever happens tomorrow could be completely different. But it seems to be that, at least presently where we stand right now, whoever Donald Trump is and the person that we thought he was as being this master negotiator, and I was under that impression too, don't get me wrong, all out the window. And again, I don't know any of the internal machinations that is happening within the administration specifically. I don't know what's going on within Trump's head. And there could be a lot of internal conflicts and within the admin as far as what's happening here. But I must say I am rather disappointed. And I was also disappointed to see J.D. Vance support Donald Trump in all of this when he tweeted. And of course, I get it. He's a vice president. He's going to back the president. I understand. But the anti-foreign entanglement position that these people have posed throughout the duration of the presidential election and even beforehand, and to see us come to face with an actual conflict, an actual international conflict that has major consequences internationally within the global community, and see them actually faced with it, and still, even Donald Trump, as great as he is, as isolationist as they say he is, had to bend the knee for Israel's direction in all of this. And, like I said, as far as I was willing to support Trump in a lot of what he's doing, because what he has been doing, I back a lot. As for the usual watchers here, that I like what he's been doing. But this topic specifically has fallen flat on its face. And honestly, can we be surprised? No, I don't think any of us can claim that we are really this surprised, seeing the trajectory of how American involvement has been in international politics, especially as it concerns the Middle East up until now. And the fact that they're saying there'll be no boots on the ground, or there's no regime change, I find it hard to believe. The sites with the potential nuclear weapons are one's in a mountain, one's underground. Regardless, both are completely concealed, and they have to be investigated and they have to be examined if we're going to go and try to neutralize that region. That requires direct intervention. So it doesn't even make sense to me why we're claiming that this isn't going to go any further than what it has been. Again, I'm very skeptical. I'm very skeptical that we're going to do a few runs through there and then we're going to be stuck there for another 10 years. And I'm afraid it'll be repeating the patterns of the Vietnam War that we have seen already previously to this. So that's what I'm concerned of.
They say they're open to negotiation. Not sure negotiation really is a tactic at this point. And even President Trump saying when he was asked whether he would potentially send Vice President Vance and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff
negotiation
back
is
to the
certainly not an option anymore.
Tehran, he said, I'm not in the mood right now to negotiate. So it's basically surrender, or at least major concessions that were even unthinkable to the Iranians a week ago, or continue fighting it out and essentially accept the fate at this point. Those are the two options, it seems, for Tehran. Even their missile launches over the last 2 or 3 strikes are way down from where they were in the initial rounds. 20 missiles, 30 missiles, having little impact comparatively, although still 24 dead in Israel. So very few avenues open right now to Tehran other than the two I just mentioned, either waving the white flag completely or making inconceivable concessions at this point.
Let's watch this. This is the IDF gives an update following the strikes on the military nuclear sites. Of course, this is 4 days ago, but I think this provides extra context for what's happening here.
A massive drone attack, and most of the...
Let's start from the beginning.
Earlier, we announced that
this is what led to where we are right now, just so we can have some extra context, obviously.
A massive drone attack, and most of the targets were intercepted. During the nights, hundreds of IAF fighter jets flew and managed to strike at dozens of sites and targets all over Iran. Now we're going to expose to you the Natanz nuclear site, which we exposed earlier. During the past few hours, we have attacked the largest enrichment site in Iran, which is 1,500 kilometers away from Israel. This facility served the Revolutionary Guards to advance the nuclear program, the military nuclear program. As you can see, the site is in the Natanz region. There is a very large underground hall there that goes several floors down with centrifuges and infrastructure and electricity. We've attacked this underground facility and some other crucial infrastructure at this site. We have significantly impacted and harmed this site. For many years, the people of the Iranian regime made an effort to obtain nuclear arms in this facility. It has the necessary infrastructure to enrich uranium to a military grade. For many years, the world has tried to stop the Iranian regime but it refused to do so. So we were left with no choice but to take action. The Iranian regime continues to strive to annihilate the state of Israel. We cannot allow them to do so. This morning, we have announced the targeted killing of three most senior commanders of the Iranian regime. In addition, in the joint initial strike, we also targeted.
We have, hold on a second, before we proceed further, we have $10 from Row House. And Row House, you have given me a really great resource to cite here. So let me do that here and pull this tweet up. Oops, hold on a second. Anyways, I just wanted to provide that context here for you guys. But let's open up Row House's tweet. And that could provide us a little bit more context of what's happening, specifically as far as Israel's involvement is concerned, shall we? Israel propaganda with Israel-owned American media is not new, but it has been talked about for years. Iran has been months away from building a nuke for decades. So this is what this poster has compiled here to show the potential propaganda that is surrounding the news here, okay? And it comes with a clip. I see that, Row House. 1992, Netanyahu says Iran is 3 to 5 years from being able to produce a nuclear weapon, okay? That was 92. 95, Netanyahu says Iran could have a nuclear weapon in 5 years. 2002, Netanyahu says Iran is years away from a nuclear bomb, yet again. And 2009, Netanyahu tells the UN that Iran is close to a nuclear weapon yet again. 2011, see a pattern here. Israel says Iran could have a nuclear weapon in 1 year. 2013, Netanyahu says Iran is a few months away from having a nuclear weapon. You have to dismantle the entire terror empire. 2015, Netanyahu says Iran is on the brink of having a nuclear bomb. In 2018, Netanyahu claims he has documents showing Iran has a secret nuclear program. 2020, okay? Israel says Iran is close to having a nuclear weapon. 2022, Netanyahu says Iran is on the cusp of having a nuclear weapon. 2025, Israel says Iran is days away from having a nuclear weapon.
have to dismantle the entire terror.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken is warning that Iran is potentially just months away or less from nuclear breakpoint.
Iran is 2 months away from a nuclear weapon, and it's a victory to get them 1 year away?
Iran could be less than a month away from building a nuclear weapon. Netanyahu has made 2 tough-talking TV appearances, saying that Iran is just months away from making a nuclear bomb.
What is important to understand is that you have to dismantle the entire terror empire, and especially before its main practitioners, the terror states of Iran and Iraq, acquire nuclear weapons.
Interesting.
And this,
very, very interesting. Boy who cried wolf in Hero House.
Secretary of State.
Now, listen, as far as Middle Eastern politics concerned, look, you guys, extremely complicated endeavor to even try and attempt to explain it all. And I'm certainly not up the position to, I don't have the expertise or the expert knowledge to lay it all out here, hang it all out for you guys today and explain to you every bit of detail that's happening here and why Israel may be motivated to do this. Now, obviously, there are obvious reasons why we may think so, particularly with the Islamic Empire that has been brewing within that region. However, and I will not sit here and claim that I'm on the side of Iran, or what I think the Ayatollah is doing is I like that. I'm not backing that at all. There's clearly many instances where there's parts of the Middle East that are very dangerous. It should be, I would prefer it to be neutralized, considering that, I'm very anti-Islamic. And I don't think that the proliferation of this religion and of this ideology should flourish on the global scale. Absolutely not. It is a religion that is of conquest. However, as we have come to see over and over and over again, is that the American interventionism and our involvement within this, and also utilizing, or rather, it seems like Israel is utilizing us to do this, doesn't do us any favors. And I think that relying on this talking point or this reasoning to get into that region, which we all, there's many explanations as to why we want to be in that region for the extraction of resources and so forth. But rather, what I'm trying to explain here is that built upon the reasoning for why we get involved, particularly in that region, is of course on the internationalist program of liberalization of these countries. And of course, you could say that one of the aspects of the West and the liberalizing effects of the West is Israel. And that is a neutralizing force within that region. And I'm of that mindset, partially, that is correct. And so I'm not like anti-Israel in the sense that it shouldn't exist in that region. It is a neutralizing force. However, you guys, being involved in that region for decades have been proven to be a waste of our resources and a waste of our time and a waste of that region's time. And if anything, it just heightens, I'll just say this, it heightens a lot of negative emotions garnered against our country, I think, if we have our presence remain there. And something tells me that the way that we have approached this topic in the past, as far as the Middle East is concerned, isn't going to do us any favors in the future. And let me pull up actually this tweet right now. I was going to pull it up later, but I like this tweet that explains this actually. Oh dear, where is it? Where is it? This one. Now, this was posted by Harrison Smith, and this is a big think. This is a big think, you guys. Harrison Smith, he's an affiliate with InfoWars, writes this, okay? Now, you guys can tell me what you think of it. If Iran is taken out, do you know what comes next? Al-Aqsa Mosque gets demolished by Israel, and they start building the third temple. This is the fulfillment of the prophecy that the boomers so much are looking for. As I've heard Alex Jones say earlier on his show right before mine, he calls it the neocon eschatology. I really like that. I think I'm going to be using that from now on. Global jihad, mass terror attacks across the West that is precipitated by this. Several more decades of instability and mass migration is a potential outcome of our further involvement in this. And I certainly can see this happening, even if it is for the concern of neutralizing the Middle East. But I think, am I saying this is the explanation? possibly not, of what's actually happening here or what Israel's intention here is. I'm not saying that. I do think it's a very interesting idea, an interesting concept. So, anyway, it's a scary time, you guys. I don't want to focus on the negative on this show, but alas, this is breaking news. This is something that we have to talk about. And it's important that we keep raising up our voices in the absolute state of boomer neocon politics right now, how unpopular it is. It's important that we keep talking about it. Oh, and also we have $5 from Entropy Nomad. Welcome, Entropy. You wrote, Boomer's gonna boom. Exactly, Entropy Nomad. Boomer's gonna boom. It's just one big clown show, what the neocons are becoming. Anyways, I'll be right back. I'm going to go on a quick commercial break, pull up a few news sources. I'm already running out of time because we have a guest coming on our show. American David is going to be coming up next. And I did want to talk about more lighthearted topics as well, at least in the middle of this stream. But it is a Tuesday. This stream can go on longer than usual, so stay tuned, everyone. We'll be covering this in the news as well as many other topics after this commercial break. So stay tuned. Send in your Rumble rants. Let's keep supporting the show. And I'll see you guys in a minute here.
Well, here comes Sandy yelling like Marilyn with a twist. She's got a master's degree and a style you can't resist. On Culturama, baby, we're shaking up the scene. So hit that like, make it click, you know what we mean. Like and subscribe, come on, don't delay. With Daniela at the helm, we're leading the way. It's Culturama, taking back tomorrow today.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the four olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah. Who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben & Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that, because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have glad you came out, and I'm so happy that you're queer. In the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news! Starbucks will offer its workers reimbursement of travel expenses related to accessing abortion and gender-affirming procedures.
Kyle Rittenhouse was seen wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company shirt, and they wanted to distance themselves from that individual. Key employees at the company also were donating to Democrats. Hafer doubled down on throwing many in his base under the bus, describing them as racist and a repugnant group of people.
we got 15 more minutes left until I have a surprise guest here for you, everyone. Returning guest American David to talk with us about pop culture. But since I have a little bit of time, I want to jump in here and talk with you a little bit more about this news that's happening today with this Israel-Iran entanglement that we are finding ourselves into. The international web is the Middle East that we can't seem to escape, ladies and gentlemen. And I also wanted to go over some of the reactions from not just the voting base, but as well as legislators and lawmakers and how they're reacting to all of this as well. Now, like I said, insider sources, again, you don't have to believe me on this, but I do have some insider sources tell me that there is a major ideological rift happening even within the administration and how they should approach this entire endeavor. And it seems to be a shared or a misalignment between the neocon and the MAGA people. And obviously that's no surprise to us that would be happening, knowing their histories with each other, especially within the GOP. But I do want to make this clear. If the GOP proceeds forward in dragging us into this war that really no one wants in this country, we have to dismantle it. We really got to dismantle it, you guys. Okay? I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know how that's going to look. It's going to be ugly. But this really should show us, and it really should animate us to get not just involved, but you know what? I'm done with it. Just tear it down from the bottom up. It's getting so obvious. It's not just our lawmakers or our officials, but it's even people, the boomers, some Gen Xers, that are even on the ground involved in this party, do not care about your well-being, do not care about the future of our nation. Okay? And it shows. It really shows. And that the bloodlust that some of these people have, I'm talking about neocons like Mark Levin, okay? Like Lindsey Graham. Or as the meme says, the Holden blood feasts of the Republican Party. Clearly are going scorched earth, and I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's just because they feel like they don't have a future and they feel like they can drag us through that muck and that mud that they want us to, they want our generation to fall apart financially and economically, demographically. They're trying to absolutely have an upheaval of our morale and our faith in the country. And anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Well, let's take a look at this. Just in Iranian TV, I don't know if this is confirmed. I've seen this float around. This is what it says. There is a surprise tonight that the world will remember for centuries, okay? Apparently, this is what Iranian TV has posted. Again, this has been unconfirmed as far as I'm aware, but something to look forward to, okay? Then Donald Trump posted this on Truth Social, unconditional surrender. Okay, we've heard this. We've heard this before. Some of you that know history, we've heard this before in the dawning of World War II. So again, not helping the World War allegations there. What is going on with Donald Trump? Some of the apologists out there that are still defending him, I've been called an apologist, that's fine. But some of them that are still defending him on this, what does this mean? Why is he crashing out right now? Why is a Donald Trump crash out happening only not even a year into his administration? What is happening? What do we got here? So Thomas Massey came out. I know, Row House. Why is he doing this? The chat's already losing it. Oh, why, oh, wild man? Welcome to Culturama. It's so good to see you. You wrote, hit that like button. I think is that what you said? Hit that thumbs up, like it's, well, use your imagination. Very cute. Laissez-faire, bro. Welcome to the chat. Okay, this is what Thomas Massey responded with. This has been making the rounds on Twitter, obviously gaining a lot of popularity with quite a bit of people. This is not our war, he writes, but if it were, Congress must decide such matters according to our Constitution. I'm introducing a bipartisan war powers resolution tomorrow to prohibit our involvement. I invite all members of Congress to co-sponsor this resolution. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez signing on, Ilhan Omar signing on. Not the most ideal people, but you know what? In times like this, in times like this, we can get as much support as we need to at least retain the not just the legitimacy of our country, just to retain the longevity of our country. The range of Iran's missiles, by the way, here's a map for all of you to see. Okay. Let's quickly skim this article. Not our war. Bipartisan U.S. lawmakers back resolution to block involvement in Iran. Republican Thomas Massie joins the Democrats in effort to require Congress approval before Trump attacks Iran. On Tuesday, today, Republican Congressman Massie, whose libertarian tinge politics have often put him in odds with Trump, as we have talked about on this show before, you know, I'm not 100% backing Massie and everything, but for cases like this, once again, to retain the longevity of our country, the integrity of our country, and the integrity of the American people, as far as our will is concerned, is necessary. No one wants to get into this war. It's going to be an absolute waste of resources. It will have us drawn there and stay there for years to come. People that are saying this isn't a regime change, people that are saying this is going to be a nothing war, they either don't know what they're talking about or they're lying to you. This is going to be a bigger deal than some of these people are saying, okay? And the neocons that have the absolute bloodlust over this, like Lindsey Graham, absolutely disgusting, saying game on like it's some kind of a game. It's absolutely disgusting. Anyways, Thomas Massie, whose libertarian tinge politics have put him in odds with Trump, joined with several progressive Democrats to introduce in the House of Representatives a war powers resolution that would require a vote by Congress before Trump could attack Iran. Democrat Tim Kaine has introduced a companion legislation in the Senate. This is not our war. If it were, Congress must decide such matters according to our Constitution, Massie wrote on X. We've just read that. And then Ilhan Omar, AOC, have responded with that they are signing on. The resolution's introductions came hours before Trump left the G7 summit in Canada early to return to D.C. and demand Iran's, quote, unconditional surrender, what we've just saw there on the Truth Social post. Following days after the Israeli airstrikes, the White House later denied media reports circulating that the U.S. had decided to become involved in the conflict, with spokesperson Alex Pfeiffer saying American forces are maintaining their defensive posture, and that has not changed. We will defend American interests. However, U.S. military aircraft and sea vessels have moved into the Middle East, and Iran's deepest nuclear facilities are thought to be penetrable only by a bunker-busting bomb possessed by the U.S. alone. I don't believe this. One is completely underground. The other one was within a mountain. Now, I hope they're right in saying this, that it is penetrable without any further intervention in that region, without like boots in the ground excavation. I really hope that is true, but I don't trust these people anymore. I don't trust any of these people anymore. Trump campaigned on keeping the United States out of foreign wars. Have you guys seen that tweet making the rounds where he made that tweet about Obama having to get into Iran? Remember that. Trump campaigned on keeping the United States out of foreign wars. And this past weekend, J.D. Vance told Army troops at a military parade in Washington, D.C., quote, "We never ask you to go to war unless you absolutely have to." Trump vetoed 2 war powers resolutions during his first term, which concerned Iran and Yemen, and has called for a primary challenge against Massie for opposing his priorities. Such resolutions are privileged, meaning they must come up for a vote, though House Republican leaders have lately taken unorthodox steps to undermine efforts targeting issues like tariffs. MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, a right-wing Republican who has spoken out against U.S. involvement in Israel's air campaign against Iran, told this to The Guardian. While I'm opposed to America's involvement in foreign wars and regime change, I do not see a need to sign on Reps Mazzy War Powers Resolution yet, as we are not attacking Iran. Interesting. MTG, very interesting. I trust President Trump will deliver his campaign promises and turn this dangerous conflict between Israel and Iran into peace without war. I hope she's right. I really hope she's right, because I don't know. Lindsay Game on Graham. I'm going to do the sound effect one more time for you guys at home. Okay, and just a little bit, we have another guest coming on this show for about 30 minutes. So I'm going to be speaking with returning guest American David of America. We've had him on before. This is his third time on the show. And he did want to discuss a little bit about pop culture. So let's make this a little bit more lighthearted for now. Of course, I'll be returning to this news after the interview. But just so we can have a little bit of a reprieve and have, not doom spiral completely. I did want to, first of all, before I do that, I do want to show you guys one thing that I tweeted. Oh, look, there I am. In terms of the Iranian TV post, there's a surprise tonight that the world will remember for centuries. I'm putting it all in on Nothing Ever Happens. What do you guys think? Nothing ever happens. I'm putting it all in. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that the Nothing Ever Happens chuds are going to be accurate this time, as they normally are, because I certainly don't want anything to happen. Barney Styles, what do you think happens if Iran hits Saudi Arabia with a nuke? Point being, the way to avoid war is to deal with this now, not later. What do I think will happen? I think that's going to cause a major stir in that region, which may even precipitate further involvement. Additionally, like the fallout. Now, I wonder how the fallout will be in that region. In the desert. Just simply on an environmental level, like, I do wonder how much that will affect the region, like the spread of it. As we've seen on the map, it would be quite massive, the one that Massey has shared, but no, it would be, I think that's going to precipitate further action, and that's what really concerns me. But anyways, did you guys see this? Something a little bit more of a lighthearted. It looks like we have our next conservative podcast coming up. For those that don't recognize this is Andrew Tate, Islam extraordinaire, okay? And Bonnie Blue, OnlyFans model. This is a future of conservative podcasts, everyone. As I've stated earlier on this show, I'm a big critic of what Turning Point USA has done to have an OnlyFans model on their Young Women's Leadership Summit in one of their national events. And it looks like male movement leader, the pro-male movement, I don't know I forgot how to call it. Andrew Tate is having Bonnie Blue on. And then I'm sure that shortly afterward, she is going to be going on Michael Knowles' podcast afterwards as well. Now, seeing the proliferation and the... I'm saying way too much. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm just thinking out loud here. Seeing the infiltration of the OnlyFans model, of the prosties, as they say, in the so-called conservative movement, or more so the modern mainstream conservative movement, or Big Con, as I call it. What have I been saying? There is a major pattern. There seems to be a major pattern going on with some of these individuals, OnlyFans individuals, that have understood the mission, and they do understand how infiltration into this movement sets them further into other sources of wealth, and a new grifting enterprise. And this is what I have been predicting, and this is what David of America has predicted as well in my show before, and I'll talk about this with him. So, very interesting that's happening. Almost like I've been saying this, and people were saying Nala Ray's converted, Nala Ray's perfect, she's a Christian, she deserves to be in the movement. Well, that opens the door to things like this. Okay, degeneracy. Anyway, and then I wanted to talk about, there's the other picture of them. Bonnie Blue bodied 1,000 men. Andrew Tate bodied a generation of boys. There it is. What would you name this band, you guys? She's just talking, JJ. JJ asked in the chat, did Bonnie Blue quit, or is she just talking? At least Nala stopped her OnlyFans. She stopped her OnlyFans. She did keep the millions of dollars she made through it. I don't know. I don't think Bonnie Blue is quitting, but I think that she is setting herself up for further success. Look, Bonnie Blue, not the youngest chicken in the hen house. I think that it's rather obvious what she's doing. It's a playbook. It goes by the OnlyFans playbook, you guys. Also, David wanted to talk about this, and I'll talk about this with him as well. The dragification of female entertainers, and here we have Sabrina Carpenter. I don't know anything about Sabrina Carpenter. I'm sure David will be here to educate us on that. So stay tuned, everyone. I'm going to get him on. I'm going to go on another quick commercial break. My apologies. But like I said, stay tuned. We're going to have a very fun and active and animated interview about these things. And then furthermore, afterwards, we're going to be returning back into the news as far as Israel and the Iran situation is concerned. And we will proceed from there. So thank you for tuning in, everyone, and I shall return.
Well, here comes Daniela like Marilyn with a twist. She's got a master's degree and a style you can't resist. On Culturama, baby, we're shaking up the scene. So hit that like, make it click, you know what we mean. Like and subscribe, come on, don't delay. With Daniela at the helm, we're leading the way. It's Culturama, taking back tomorrow today.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the four olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah. Who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben & Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that, because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have glad you came out, and I'm so happy that you're queer. In the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news! Starbucks will offer its workers reimbursement of travel expenses related to accessing abortion and gender-affirming procedures.
Kyle Rittenhouse was seen wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company shirt, and they wanted to distance themselves from that individual. Key employees at the company also were donating to Democrats. Hafer doubled down on throwing many in his base under the bus, describing them as racist and a repugnant group of people.
Liberty lovers, stop scrolling, because if you're tired of the same old news, then I've got just the wake-up call for you. I want to thank you for tuning in to Culturama, and I know that you're enjoying every minute of it. Join us at rumble.com/AP4Liberty. The Wake Up America show is Mondays through Fridays, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. It's a great way to start your day. Coffee's optional, but waking up is mandatory. Remember, at Wake Up America, we'll keep you sharp, we'll keep you laughing, most of all, we'll keep you free. I'll see you in the morning.
Well, here comes Daniela like Marilyn with a twist. She's got a master's degree and a style you can't resist. On Culturama, baby, we're shaking up the scene. So hit that like, make it click, you know what we mean. Like and subscribe, come on, don't delay. With Daniela at the helm, we're leading the way. It's Culturama, taking back tomorrow today.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the four olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah, who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben & Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that, because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have glad you came out, and I'm so happy that you're queer. In the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news! Starbucks will offer its workers reimbursement of travel expenses related to accessing abortion and gender-affirming procedures.
Kyle Rittenhouse was seen wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company shirt, and they wanted to distance themselves from that individual. Key employees at the company also were donating to Democrats. Hayford doubled down on throwing many in his base under the bus, describing them as racist and a repugnant group of people.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Culturama's Radioactive Exclusion Zone. And I do have my guest with me. He's just entered in the building. I have returning guest American David. Welcome, American David, to the Radioactive Exclusion Zone. How are you doing today?
I love that radioactive exclusion zone. That's great. That's great. Print the t-shirts.
Good, yeah. New merch coming soon, ladies and gentlemen.
I love that. I'm doing pretty good. God, it sucks that it's been such a slow news week, right? Like, what the hell are we going to talk about?
Yeah, I know, right? It's, Yeah, no, it has been super slow, super crazy, but I know perhaps like, in international politics, I don't know if that's your cup of tea to talk about. I like to talk about pop culture with you, but I do have to ask your opinion on this entire situation with Israel, Iran, potentially America's involvement. It seems like, as it appears, we are getting quite involved in this. Before we get into the fun stuff, what is your take on this stuff?
Oh gosh. My take is give peace a chance, guys.
Yeah. Beautifully said.
It's scary, obviously, because now we're closer to, I heard someone say that like we have further steps into global war than at like a similar point pre-World War II. So it's like we're so geared up for something that we actually have no idea what it's going to be like, because we've never had a world war with modern technology and drones and nukes like this, you know? So it's obviously scary. I was actually worried because I have family in Haifa, and Haifa's usually like left alone, but the rockets were sent to Haifa too, and it hit a couple residential buildings. From what I know, my family is fine, but it's obviously concerning. I mean, it's a little like we have to look at it like we can't be as naive as if we didn't get to experience the history of Iraq and all of that, nation building, regime change stuff that we've tried, in Syria and Libya and everywhere else too. So we can't look at it with just like tabula rasa, you know what I mean? Like this is this blank slate. We have to look at it with the context of knowing who is potentially profiting, who is potentially benefiting from this. And I mean, there's a really good clip going around of a compilation of all of these news people saying that Iran is a few months away from developing a nuke. And it's literally verbatim the same news people saying the same thing since like the late 90s. They've literally been saying that, oh, Iran is 2 months away from a nuclear warhead. Iran is 3 months away from a nuclear warhead. And it's like, all right, Bibi, first of all, sit down, and second of all, it's like, it has to give us a little pause, because who actually wants this? Freaking nobody. Besides like Raytheon and Lockheed Martin. Exactly. They're probably thrilled, and Boeing. But I don't want us to have to continue being Israel's pit bull in that way. I think Israel's doing a pretty good job. It's defending itself as is. I don't want to see any American troops in the Middle East getting killed or maimed or injured permanently. Like, we've been there, we've done that. It seems like a bold, like seeing the rockets fall and the hypersonic missiles fall on Tel Aviv was eerie. I mean, that did actually give me chills, because Tel Aviv has been like the untouched San Francisco for so long, And it's like, to see it happen there, that's when it's like, oh, okay, this is real now,
Oh, no, absolutely. I do like what you said, that we are Israel's pit bull. I think that is a very good illustration of what's happening here. And what you've talked about them basically like preparing us for this for years, for a couple decades now, saying that Iran is going to have these nuclear weapons. Someone in the chat did provide a tweet linking all of those, like a clip with that. And Rowhouse, thank you in the chat for that. But yeah, so you came in a very timely manner and said that. So yeah, I mean, they've been framing this framing the narrative and setting the narrative for a very long time. I don't know if they think that the American people are like stupid, or, we don't remember our recent history and our past with our involvement in the Middle East. So I don't really know what exactly the intention is there, other than just benefiting themselves, obviously, and keeping our entanglements with other countries strong for whatever reason. I did want to ask you one more question about this, in that you did say that no one wants this except Lockheed Martin. True. I will say, though, some of these GOP neocons like Lindsey Graham saying, game on, like Mark Levin, they're bloodthirsty for this war. What do you think the American people, specifically people that have voted for Trump, that got involved with the conservative. I got involved with my local Republican Party initially in 2016 when Trump was running. So, like, for those of us that did want to get involved, partially for more of an isolationist approach to international politics, what should we do with the GOP? Is it just like a boomer problem? How should we react to this? How can we hold people accountable? I mean, yeah, we can vote, I suppose, but like, what do you think the intentions are of the GOP? Does it have much of a future if it continues to push this?
That's such a good question. Yeah, because there was this sweet spot, and I'm really worried we've like pushed beyond it, but there was this sweet spot where like anti-war and GOP was becoming synonymous. And just in the last few years under the Trump, kind of era, and being more isolationist, giving peace a chance, let's talk to all of our enemies, that kind of vibe. And that was one of like a golden egg for us to hold on to. And we're going to lose all of that, let's say, street cred if we now just wholeheartedly and, 10 toes down go into supporting another endless Middle Eastern conflict. And Lindsey Graham, I volunteer him to be put on the front lines. That queen pisses me off more than like Nancy Pelosi, more than Adam Schiff. That F slur is the bane of America's existence, and he shouldn't ever be. That I made a video about something similar to this like a year ago, where I said that we need to lay more blame at the feet of bad Republican senators and congressmen that keep getting reelected in their red states, and we have to blame some of these red states because they're so used to, or there's all this infrastructure to get the person reelected constantly. Nobody ever contests them. And it's people like Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, Dan Crenshaw, who are just like always gung-ho, ready to go, very trigger happy and wanting endless conflict. I mean, I was disgusted by Lindsey Graham for a long time, but especially when he was saying, before when it came to the Russia-Ukraine thing, saying that as many Ukrainians as it takes. It's like, what a disgusting thing to say. What a disgusting thing to say, like as if he's playing some gay Risk board game. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like these are human beings, and a lot of the biggest cheerleaders of military interventionist conflict, all of that, are people that have like never touched conflict in their life and have never gotten near to risking their life or anything. So all they have to, risk or gain from any of this is their ROI and their investments and everything that they're doing. So I think it'll be a shame if MAGA and the Maha movement and Trump and the Republicans go full war hawk, which is like in the DNA of quite a bit of them. Unfortunately, I think that a lot of evangelicals have kind of very much bought into this idea that it is our moral duty to support the modern day state of Israel, as if it is Israel from the Bible and all of that. And I think that is so like simplistic and also so dangerous, because we're talking about a modern government, like a modern government of a modern country with fallible, corrupt humans as they are in every other country and every other state, So to kind of give them this like veneer of untouchability, and this is all just, part of the grand plan, I think that is so dangerous. And so, I mean, there are like, by the numbers, there are more Zionist evangelicals than there are Zionist Jews in the world,
Really?
Oh, yeah, 100%. And it would make sense.
Gosh.
There's not as many Jews in the world, but there's quite a bit of American evangelicals. And it just like kind of boggles my mind when there's like so much bloodshed and terror going on right now, and to like placate that or run cover for that and then use the name of Christ to do that, I think that's pretty sick. I'm not sure that Jesus, if he were alive today, would be like bomb them all.
Exactly.
Cut off their water and food.
That's a statistic I'm certainly going to use on this show. So thank you for mentioning. There are more Zionist Americans than there are Israelis.
100%.
That's insane. Okay, well that's good to know. I have to use that. Like that's going in the bank, in the Coach Drama bank.
You're very welcome to it.
But anyways, just to do a little bit more of a shift to more lighthearted topics. like I said to the audience here today, we are going to talk a little bit more about pop culture as well, just to kind of lighten the load. Things are a little dark right now, but I had a question for you. I don't know if you've seen this, but Bonnie Blue, OnlyFans model, the chick that slept with the 1,000 men, insane. She's going on Andrew Tate's. She's on Andrew Tate's podcast. Do you think? Now, I suggested this to the stream. You can tell me your thoughts on this. But do you think that this is the new Nala grift? Is she playing by the OnlyFans playbook? Why is she infiltrating? What does Bonnie Blue have to say to the Tate movement, or even to the broader, you could say, masculine conservative movement? Yeah, the manosphere. Thank you, the manosphere. What is her association with this? Tell us your thoughts.
Like realistically, I think she's just looking to increase her customer base, most likely.
Yeah.
You know, when you get, I think it's a numbers game for her at this point. You know, she ran through so many of them that she's trying to reach out into other departments.
It's a collection. It's like
She's gonna have
Pokemon.
to
Yeah.
really switch it up. Soon she's going to be like talking to the Sikhs and the Hindus and the Buddhists. She's going to be reaching out to everybody. So, yeah, I think it's most likely just a play, kind of like we spoke about the last time, where it's like you're kind of setting up this track for people to follow and to emulate, like the Nala, or even I forget the name of the Indian one with the glasses, who was like the most famous one for a while. I think she went on some like conservative podcasts for a minute during COVID, I think.
The Indian one with the glasses.
Yeah, she's like
On
the most.
OnlyFans?
No, she's like a old school porn.
Okay, like the old school. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I don't know.
Mia Khalifa. Mia Khalifa.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Yeah, so I think now we've like established some precedent for the track of like from OnlyFans or from porn to now you're gonna have opinions about, and since like the whole manosphere thing is so huge and it's kind of like its own like podcasting genre and its own like just content genre in general, that is a huge pool. And if it's like a bunch of sexually frustrated guys or people that don't have much luck with women or need input and help on how to get with women, they're likely also ingesting a lot of porn. So that's a very solid customer base for her to dip into, you know what I mean? But I don't even know what the premise of her talking to him would be. Like, I don't know if we're going to try to do it as like a whatever podcast and try to like roast her, but I don't think she would set herself up for that. And God knows what Tate is thinking now. I mean, who knows? But
it's interesting about Mia Khalifa. I completely forgot about that, and you're absolutely right. Now, I'm not saying Nala Ray did this with that intention, but it is interesting. They are kind of Mia Khalifa was sort of the first one to sort of do this. It is interesting. I guess I should call it the Mia Khalifa playbook. I already have like 4 people in the chat saying that Mia Khalifa is actually Middle Eastern, she's Palestinian. Thank you, everyone. Just so we all know, she's not Indian, just Palestinian. Awesome.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, I don't know. Who would have guessed that Tate's base would consume pornography? I would have never guessed, right? If anything, she's a very good marketer of her content, I suppose. But yeah, this is why and a lot of people came after me for saying this about Nala Ray, but and you said this quite effectively in my last stream, or last time you were here rather, is that this is just a playbook that they're all going to go through, like the big grift. And why does a conservative move? I don't know if I would consider. I mean, Tate, he is tangentially related to the conservative movement. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But the way that they're infiltrating us in any way they can, it's quite interesting. They're doing this specifically with the conservative movement. I do wonder if that's because, like, is a conservative movement, and I'm just spitballing here, but is it because like we have more? I'm just speculating. More sexually frustrated men, or because in the left wing you don't see this happen more often, or is it because the left wing is already so degenerate, they're already filled with people like this that it's really there's no like novelty to it. Whereas if you do infiltrate the conservative movement, there's more novelty, more interest, and more people would probably consume that content. I don't know.
I think that's a fair popular guess or, theory, because if you think about like novelty too, it's like she's just a ran through white girl to the left, a straight ran through white girl, But then to the right, she has, I mean, she's still a ran through white girl, but it's like there's going to be more novelty there for sure. And then it's like super interesting to think about what the hell they're going to talk about, because I feel like Tate and the whole manosphere has brought the concept of like body count to like the tip of the zeitgeist, and everyone's constantly talking about body count, what's your body count? Girl, her body count in one day is like multitudes higher by like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Than like a whole family's body count, like an extended family. I'm talking like including third and fourth cousins.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't understand what like the context of him having her there will be, and what like what's the benefit, what lesson is she going to teach the audience, or what's her call to action besides subscribers?
What's her call to action? That's a very good one. What's her CTA for the Tate for the Tate followers? I do wonder. I'm now having more people in the chat saying that Mia Khalifa was Lebanese. Okay. Good to know. And people are literally just like talking about her demographics there.
Her race is changing faster than Ariana Grande.
Yeah, exactly.
She's gonna be
Ariana Grande is
crazy.
She had 4 eras at this point. It's insane. I don't know anything about Ariana Grande. I just recently, because of her like supposed eating disorder, I was like looking into her and I didn't realize like how many changes she's been through. She had a Latina era.
Yes.
Black era, Korean
Asian era.
and now I guess she's just anorexic white girl. But
yeah, I'm getting into this era. It reminds me of growing up in the early 2000s when all of our idols had eating disorders and were blonde and ridiculous. So
anyways, but yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what wisdom Bonnie Blue has to impart on the young men in the manosphere.
When it's coming? When is that supposed to happen?
I don't know, actually. I just saw a few posts about it. I'll have to find that out. I wasn't planning on watching it, but it probably will be educational material. So I might have to look into that. I'll talk about it on stream. But another thing, and you actually want to talk about this, and I wanted your take on it because Sabrina Carpenter, I know her, about her as much as I know about Taylor Swift, which is nothing. I've just recently seen her crop up in media and on my timeline on Twitter and so forth. I've never listened to a song of hers. There is a lot of talk about, I've just seen the discussions of that picture with her on the floor on her all fours with the man grabbing her hair in that picture. I quickly put it on the screen before the interview. A lot of people, at least men, are saying they don't find it sexually appealing. So there's discussion about that. I don't know what that is. People are saying that she's appealing more to the female gaze and the male gaze. Can you explain this to me? Because I'm not initiated in this conversation at all.
Yeah, well, Sabrina Carpenter's had been like an astronomical rise to fame recently, but she's been at it for years. She's like a child star, very, very talented, excellent writer, excellent singer, all of that. I think a lot of this right now is like hot white girl syndrome, hot, skinny, blonde white girl syndrome too, because we've seen Lizzo, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, any of them put themselves in way more explicitly sexual situations. But because she's traditionally attractive and skinny and blonde and white, they're picking her apart so hard on this. And basically it's like the feminist double-edged sword when they argue with each other in the comments, which is like lovely to see, because half of the feminists are saying, basically they're saying her music isn't critical enough for her to call to this super explicit sexual imagery without bringing in the critical content and context in her lyrics and everything else. And other women are saying, you're basically policing her into being puritanical and we're like going backwards. I mean, she's essentially fully clothed. She's wearing like a mini dress on the thing. Yeah, she's on her hands and knees. The name of the album is called Man's Best Friend. So she's being treated like a dog by the man. So I feel like there's layers depending on how you want to look at it. But it's just hilarious that like the discourse that this has spawned, because they really can't make up their mind whether, because they preach this like feminist empowerment of like sexualize yourself, you know, put yourself out there, the more the merrier, get a high body count, all of that. But then on the flip side, they're like, well, then you're just being like a pleasure tool of men. The funny thing is that they're right on both ends, but they're choosing the wrong side of each argument on either side. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, women shouldn't hoe around like wild, because nobody should hoe around like wild. Like, it's not good for anybody. It's not good for men or women. Obviously, it's not the same for men as it is for women. Women risk a lot more by opening themselves up to men like that. But I just think that, like, there was, when she got the cover of, I want to say GQ, and this was like right after the election, and she's just this hot, pin-up-y blonde white girl on the cover of a national magazine. And culturally, to me, I was like, we're so back. We're so back. Like, hot blondes are in adverts again. Like, this is legit. And I'm like a Sabrina Carpenter stan. I'm not too embarrassed to say that her album Short and Sweet was a masterpiece. I love it. She's like what Taylor Swift wished she was, in the sense of like, she actually can write clever lyrics, and she has a really beautiful voice and really excellent vocal control and all of that. And she's drop dead gorgeous, obviously. And she's kind of leaned into her branding, and her team did an excellent job of kind of leaning into this like Americana, pinup, like traditionally beautiful, like all of that. She's not trying to be edgy, besides her sexuality. She's not really trying to be like edgy visually at all. So I think people love to, she was kind of untouchable for the longest time. And one thing we know about our culture for sure, whether it's music or politics or pop culture, is that the masses love to build somebody up to rip them down a few steps later. You know, we get some sort of sick satisfaction from that. And that is some of the propaganda I am not buying into. The Sabrina Carpenter hate, I refuse to.
He refuses to acknowledge it. Fair enough. That you actually bring up a really good point in that, because I didn't think about this. I don't really think about music, pop music, all that much. So very interesting that you mentioned this, is that you're absolutely right, because you're mentioning this. Like, we had Nicki Minaj, Lizzo, Megan Thee Stallion, I think, is what she's called.
In a post wet ass pussy world, sorry, but like in a post WAP world, really, we're gonna clutch our pearls at this fully adult woman on her hands and knees. Like, I get it. Like, I get it, because they just like want her to be this like feminist icon, and they want her to be what they want her to be.
Yeah.
And she's kind of, I'm not even gonna say doing her own thing. I mean, like, everything she does has like a team of marketing people and PR people planning every step of it. And they've done a really, really good job. I know someone who used to style for her before she really blew up, when she was still like wholesome kind of Disney star. And she was still like a full adult, and she wouldn't even cuss around people. Like, she wouldn't say ass or damn or hell or anything. So I think this is like a very conscious effort by her team to put her into the like
a clean girl image sort of a thing.
And go into like that. I mean, they always kind of dance around this like Lolita sex doll kind of like, you know, we're gonna play on the very young look and blah blah blah. And then also she just had that Rolling Stones cover where she's like in knee-high white socks, and people were freaking out about that because they're saying that it was like too reminiscent of like something a kid would wear. And I am such a split mind on this, because, you know, I have the radar for like the grooming stuff and the creepy stuff that goes on. But also I'm like, we can't be complete like Puritans about stuff. You know what I mean?
I didn't see that. I mean, I know what your cover you're talking about, that magazine cover. It didn't cross my mind that just because she has like knee-high stockings, I feel like a lot of adults wear that.
Right.
It's not necessarily.
And there wasn't any other like context clues to make it like super creepy. It's like she was surrounded by teddy bears
or has like pigtails. Yeah, I don't see that in there.
It wasn't like freaking a Balenciaga ad. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Someone, Laissez Fairbrand in the chat says she's still taking more pipe than North Dakota. Interesting. She's probably right on that one.
Not the pipeline joke.
But anyway, I did want to mention this. So it's interesting. You bring this to my attention. We are sort of coming towards this like this clean girl aesthetic, I guess you could call it, or the return of like the white girl summer concept. Do you think this is what led into, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've just been noticing a lot of more of this, the Swiftie. The Swiftie takeover. I've been hearing a lot about Taylor Swift like a few months ago, and all I hear about are Swifties. Do you think that I guess like Taylor Swift has always been popular, right? Again, I haven't heard a single song of hers, so I have no idea. But from what I've noticed is that she's been increasing in popularity lately. Is that correct? If that's the case, is that related to this transition from like the postmodern, as you know, Lizzo aesthetic, edgy, previous to that with like the alternative rock idea and like Avril Lavigne from when I was younger, to like this clean girl aesthetic? Do you think this Swiftie era, the new Swiftie era, sort of relates to that as well, and like pipelined into Sabrina Carpenter, I guess?
It could. I don't know. I haven't kept up a lot with Taylor Swift. I'm not exactly a Taylor Swift stan, but I know that the most I've been hearing about her or reading about her, watching about her recently is about the Justin Baldoni case and all the Blake Lively stuff. But I think she's one of those where like she had that, which probably what added to all of her like pressure to politicize her message and everything is because she had that like wholesome country white girl image, all-American type thing. So like the last thing they would want is someone that fits that image to also espouse those kinds of values maybe, or whatever, you know? So like that's why she was so pressured and felt such pressure to go very pro-left on everything. So I think she kind of like almost held that, like she was one of the only ones that was allowed to be that kind of, but then she still had all of her politics, but she was still, you know, white and blonde and skinny, you know, and conventionally attractive, I guess. She's not exactly my type, but...
Right.
So now I think it has opened up. I don't know anything about her new era or anything like that, but Sabrina was her opening act, though, for her Eras tour. So you can credit Taylor Swift for increasing Sabrina Carpenter's popularity, and then Sabrina Carpenter ended up selling out more places than Taylor Swift did.
Interesting. Okay, we have $5 from JJ. And JJ, you wrote, one of the things I hate about the Trump era is the rise of the supermodel plastic aesthetic. I don't necessarily want to go back to normal, he wrote in quotes, because normal got us into this liberal mess. Very interesting. I guess I can see what you mean, JJ, about the Trump era sort of like supermodel plastic aesthetic. Are you asserting?
Are we thinking like almost like Fox News telecasters aesthetic, where everyone's like
and you can
blonde
and you can elaborate, JJ, if we're wrong here, but I think that's what he's getting at, is sort of like this blonde. Yeah, and I've noticed, everyone's noticed this. There's like this reintroduction of the blonde plastic surgery white woman. We see it all over Fox all the time.
Yes.
So there is sort of like this wanting to return to what we once considered in the United States traditional beauty, right? And I can certainly see this within Sabrina Carpenter. Yeah, we are sort of moving towards these traditional lines. I do wonder how this will relate to the gender roles conversation. Because
you should have seen me when some of the incels on X and Twitter pissed me off so bad, because people were posting pictures of Sabrina Carpenter saying, why can't people acknowledge that without makeup and everything else, she's like a 5 or something, and without all of her plastic surgeries. And I'm like, dude, you can literally, she's grown up on television. You can actually see her from like a preteen, a child, literally coming up. She's always been gorgeous. Literally go outside and touch grass and try not to touch a woman, because I'm sure you'll probably get a charge. Like, that is crazy.
You'll get a charge, for sure.
Some of the things have gone too far, you know what I mean? Like the pendulum swung quite a bit, and that's always going to happen. But like, damn, some of the guys like really need to, I mean, in the same token where like the crazy lefty girls need to like chill the F out and everything. But it's like,
oh yeah, it goes both ways. Horseshoe theory is real on this one too, for sure. I'm the first to say that the incel contingent of conservative online politics is rather concerning. Someone is in the chat is reminding me about Sydney Sweeney. That's another one. The whole big explosion of Sydney Sweeney is another relation. Is like related to this, I suppose. And
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Traditional element. JJ's writing. It's not traditional though. Women can have curves, but bikinis and plastered makeup. So you're talking about more of like the postmodern concept or inversion of what traditional beauty is, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose so. But I feel like there's a difference between what Sabrina Carpenter is doing in that aesthetic versus like because the Donald Trump blonde and plastic surgery idea and aesthetic is very, very specific.
Yes.
So yeah.
Call it Mar-a-Lago chic.
Thank you, Mar-a-Lago chic. Yeah. With the tan.
The tan, I was just gonna say,
yeah.
Get that spray tan, girl. Get that spray tan.
Yeah, and turning point events, there's a lot of them too. I said it's Mar-a-Lago and it's Arizona related as well.
Yeah, it's very Scottsdale coded.
Scottsdale coded, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I suppose I do think that we are seeing a sort of like a zeitgeist shift in not just in what we find aesthetically appealing. The left is still going to try to push the inversion of beauty, basically these postmodern ideals of what feminine beauty or what peak aestheticism should be, and they're always going to do it because that's what progressives have always done. That's sort of like their playbook. And as we are talking about, the conservative ideal is to retaining traditional forms of what the aesthetic beauty means. And I think also, and I've written about this before too, I think we are seeing, it's not just in media. Have you noticed the statues? I don't want to sound mean right now, but have you noticed the stat we've seen in New York, in Italy, parts of Europe, in the United States of big black women?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What is going on there? It's like they're trying to institutionalize it. They're systematically trying to, have us think this way. And it's like there's a massive, a massive collective response to no, we don't want this. Of course, we're going to see more of a transition into what we would find traditionally beautiful. What are your thoughts on those, on like those statues?
It's literally like what did that one? There was like a black lady that was asked her opinion about it, and she was like, "Why do they got to give us Shaquita or something?" There's so many people to choose from, and I literally feel like those statues and statues like that are the cultural Marxism version of like the oppressive communist architecture from like the 50s and 40s and 60s in all of Eastern Europe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like this oppressive, utilitarian, fully just like there's no other word to describe it besides like visually and aesthetically oppressive, because it's just dark and there's no beauty and no detail and nothing in it. And then this is like the cultural version of that, it's the same way where they invert, very basic definitions of things that at least were basic until recent times, and saying, this person with a tutu and a full beard in the ladies' bathroom where your child is fully a woman, and if you don't acknowledge that they're a brave, beautiful woman, then you're a racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe, blah blah blah. So it's like the zeitgeist, the cultural, the societal, just like almost the psychological inversion and oppression of this, like, do not believe your lying eyes. We will tell you what you're actually seeing. So it's sad, it's depressing. And then like, I would be so embarrassed and like pissed if I was a black woman and that was what was chosen to be like, hey, this is you. I hope you see yourself in this. I hope you feel represented.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, take a long walk off a short pier, sir. Whoever decided to do that hates black people, specifically black women, I'm convinced, because that's pretty effed. I mean, it's just rude. Like, it looks like a parody. You know what I mean? It looks like something that would be. It's
like old-fashioned caricatures. Yeah, absolutely. I think they're called the Robert Crumb cartoons, where they're like, they're meant to be like as the most prejudiced, racist interpretation artistically of this demographic of people. And absolutely, I feel the exact same way. If I was a Black woman, I would be quite offended and quite scared to how the future generations will look at me. There's this, I mean, there is a growing resentment, and it is unfortunate, and it's not fair to the minorities of our country. And yes, these artworks, I guess you could say, technically, are meant to be, they are purposefully offensive to the senses. And if anything, it's just showing the utmost tokenization of a certain demographic people, and it's being done in the most poor way possible.
I'm not shocked that they like chose to do that. I'm almost impressed that they actually kept it like classical form, where it's like actual statue type thing, because like when I was in New York like a month or so ago, and I spent like a few hours at the Guggenheim, and what the hell passes for modern art and contemporary art is so offensive to the senses and to your soul. And like my uncle is an artist. He's like a classicist and like a sculptor, a painter. He's kind of like a Renaissance man. He's amazing and a bit of an art snob for sure. And like I was raised that way, and just like you're not there. I mean, it's such a common thing to like rage against modern art or whatever, but it has like parallels culturally and like in everything we're talking about now, you know what I mean? Where it's like this, it's kind of the same thing where I made that video talking about how so many of the last expressions or examples we've seen of like child abuse and trafficking has been like Epstein's Island, Epstein's plane, Balenciaga models. It's all this reference to like high fashion and high echelon, upper echelon, like to elitism, and like subconsciously programming things. That's like when somebody watches a couture show in France and they want to care about fashion and they like fashion, but they objectively see that the clothes are hideous walking down the runway. But they're like, but this is a couture show. People see value in this, so there must be something there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the same thing where we're pressured into literally not trusting our own lying eyes and being like, no, this is a beautiful, brave woman. Let him in or let her into your little girl's bathroom. You know? Or like, yes, this is a fair and accurate representation of marginalized communities. Let's put up this statue of looking like someone that like gets in arguments with the teller in line at Walmart. You know what I mean? Like, it's like not good. It's not a good vibe. It's not a good look. So
yeah, absolutely. And through pushing these inverted forms of what I would say is objective beauty, it's making us question ourselves. And then that is what I think sets the narrative for us to, and the collective, to accept things that just go against common sense entirely, because you're already questioning within yourself what is supposed to be beautiful, what's ethical, what's not. Because it's like unethical, it's unmoral to say, I actually don't find that appealing or aesthetic or objectively appealing or objectively beautiful. And if they say that's immoral, then you're going to be like, well, you know, my goodness, maybe I don't have the right perspective of the world, and therefore they introduce these alienating ideas that is like subversively going to crush us in the end. But anyways,
I can't even use gay dating apps for that reason. Like Grindr is ruined. Going on Grindr, it's all trans, non-binary, and like other groups.
I do not envy those that have to use dating apps. Dating apps are just,
I know, lucky you, Miss Mary.
horrible.
Okay.
I barely made it. I barely made it to 30. I barely made it to 30. I got married, and it seems like there's going to be a draft anyway. So that's just my luck, right? Anyways, I gotta wrap it up here. We've been going for like a good 50 minutes now, I think. But 40 minutes. I gotta wrap it up here soon. But David, thank you so much for joining. Of course, I'll be putting your socials up. I'll be putting up your Instagram, your Twitter. Is there anything else you want me to put up before we or you can call out before we head out?
I mean, I guess my TikTok too, it's like basically dead. That app is such a POS, and like it doesn't show my videos to even my own followers or anything. It's crazy going from getting like 200, 300, 400, 500,000 views to getting 40 views.
It's rough. Yeah,
views.
I hate TikTok. It's rough.
it's rough.
Yeah.
So yeah, TikTok is American David 2.0 without the A. So American David, same as my Twitter and my Instagram, which is just American David.
Okay.
Yeah, I always love coming on. Thank you for having me on. I always have fun with you.
Absolutely. Well, and we'll definitely have you on again at some point. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, we need to make it a segment and like name it.
Yeah, we'll
should
make a. What did you want to name it? Do you have any ideas? We can discuss
I'll
it
have to
live right here.
brainstorm.
You'll brainstorm. Okay, I'll give you some
I'll
time.
brainstorm some ideas.
Yeah, I'll give you some time, and then we can come back to me, and we'll have a clever name. Anyways, quick commercial break, everyone, and stay tuned. We'll still talk about World War III here, but I shall return. And thank you so much, David.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Well, here comes Daniela like Marilyn with a twist. She's got a master's degree and a style you can't resist. On Culturama, baby, we're shaking up the scene. So hit that like, make it click, you know what we mean. Like and subscribe, come on, don't delay. With Daniela at the helm, we're leading the way. It's Culturama, taking back tomorrow today.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the four olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah, who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben & Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that, because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have glad you came out, and I'm so happy that you're queer. In the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news! Starbucks will offer its workers reimbursement of travel expenses related to accessing abortion and gender-affirming procedures.
Kyle Rittenhouse was seen wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company shirt, and they wanted to distance themselves from that individual. Key employees at the company also were donating to Democrats. Hafer doubled down on throwing many in his base under the bus, describing them as racist and a repugnant group of people.
Hey, Liberty lovers, stop scrolling, because if you're tired of the same old news, then I've got just the wake-up call for you. I want to thank you for tuning in to Culturama, and I know that you're enjoying every minute of it. Join us at rumble.com/AP4Liberty. The Wake Up America show is Mondays through Fridays, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. It's a great way to start your day. Coffee's optional, but waking up is mandatory. Remember, at Wake Up America, we'll keep you sharp, we'll keep you laughing, most of all, we'll keep you free. I'll see you in the morning.
Well, here comes Anita.
We are back. Welcome to Culturama. Let's take a listen to this video, everyone.
How many people live in Iran, by the way? I don't know the population at all. No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple? How many people live in Iran? 92 million. Okay. Yeah, how could you not know that?
Interesting.
I don't sit around memorizing population tables. Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government. Well, why is it relevant whether it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant? Because if you don't know anything about the country... I didn't say I don't know anything about it. Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran? They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, it's not you don't know anything about Iran. So, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran. You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government. You're the one who claims about the country. No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the one who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad. They're trying to murder Trump? Yes, I do. Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. If you really believe that. We're carrying out military strikes today. You said Israel was. Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them. Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity. We're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them. You just said we were.
Oh.
We are supporting Israel. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Please, oh my, wow. Almost like Israel and America are inseparable. That did go very well, Entropy Nomad. Please like the stream, everyone. Please like the stream. We are low on likes. Like the stream, share the stream. We are up against a lot of people streaming right now. So let's share this stream and get some support in. Before I progress with this story and the news, that link was just sent to me. Here's David of America's profile. Please go follow him. We just had him on stream here today. It is at American David. That is his Twitter. And here is his Instagram, at American David, 20K followers. I think you guys will love his content. If you love what he had to say here today, you may enjoy his content on Instagram. He has a lot of reels that he, discusses the news on. And there's his Twitter. So back on this video, Ted Cruz and Iran, full interview tomorrow. Doesn't know Iran's population, Ted Cruz. Can't name Iran's ethnic groups. Claims Iran wants to kill Trump. Confirms the U.S. is bombing Iran with Israel. Thank you so much, Entropy Nomad, for liking and sharing the stream. You are a golden Culturama member. Thank you, thank you. Very interesting how that played out. Not too well. Once again, it almost seems as though it is, as far as Israel and America's role and involvement is concerned, we are essentially inseparable entities in this entire endeavor. But also, more concerning than this, however, because we already know Americans and our involvement with and our entanglement within the politics of Israel, we are pretty much inseparable at this point, historically speaking, and today. But also, what concerns me even more almost is Ted Cruz's lack of knowledge on this topic. Once again, he's a sitting official, lawmaker, who pushes for and creates policies that have nearly life-altering consequences on us individually. And he knows not even the ethnic groups of that region. Do any of us find that at least at all concerning? Let's watch that again. I'm sorry, my sound wasn't on, so let's watch it again.
People live in Iran, by the way. I don't know the population at all.
He doesn't know the population.
No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple? How many people live in Iran? 92 million. Okay. Yeah. How could you not know that? I don't sit around memorizing population tables. Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government. Why is it relevant whether it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant? Because if you don't know anything about the country... I didn't say I don't know anything about the country. What's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and
What percent?
predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not
Okay.
even. You don't know anything about Iran. So
Okay,
actually,
I am not the Tucker Carlson
but
expert on Iran.
You're a
who
senator
says-
who's calling
Okay,
for the
you're one who
overthrow of the
claims-
government.
You're the
and
one
you
who
don't know anything
claims
about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump.
No,
You're the
I'm
one
not
who,
saying that.
who can't figure out
I'm
if it was a
saying
good
you
idea
don't
to kill
believe-
General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe
we're
that,
carrying out military strikes today.
you said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not
at all.
bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting
This is
Israel.
high stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay.
That's wild. That's wild. I'm not like the biggest fan of Tucker, but that was very well done on his part. I think I'm going to retweet that. Should I quote tweet it or should I just... Where's the dead emoji? I think I'll just put the dead emoji. But you guys better go like my tweet here. Let's see. Not that. Skull. How about skull emoji? There we go. Okay. This is wild. There we go. You guys better go like my tweet. It's posted. 92 million Aloha snack bars. Where was my next story I was going to pull up here? More coverage. It turns out Donald Trump is not going to go live and give his address quite yet tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So we still have yet another night to ourselves. Enjoy it with your family while you can. Also in the news, the Kristi Noem situation. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but that's why you come onto my show, right? DHS Secretary Kristi Noem had been rushed to the hospital earlier today. She was carried by an ambulance about 45. Well, this was when it was posted 45 minutes ago. The nature of the emergency at the time was unknown. It turns out that it was what they say due to an allergic reaction.
Security Secretary Kristi Noem was transported by ambulance on Tuesday to a hospital in Washington, D.C. One source telling our colleague Holmes Linebrand that she has been conscious at the hospital and has spoken to her security detail. We have also reached out to the Department of Homeland Security for any comment or additional details about what transpired here. So again, so far we know only that she was transported to a D.C. area hospital by ambulance. Today, we are still trying to learn more about her condition, though a source did say that she is conscious and she has spoken to her detail. Phil.
Priscilla Alvarez, we will keep breaking.
Turns out it was just an allergic reaction. But what are the chances of this happening while all of this Israel, Iran, us going into war stuff, all that hit the fan? What are the chances of that happening at the same time? Now, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy tard. The last thing I am, or I will ever back are conspiracy tards. But I also don't believe in coincidences for the most part. Now, maybe I think coincidences are exceptional, and this could very well be one of those cases where it was a coincidence. But what are the chances of that happening? That as all this news is coming out, all of a sudden, a very big person in our government just had to go to the hospital. It's food for thought. I think that is a lot of food for thought, and it leaves room for us to speculate what exactly is happening within our government and what it is that they're not telling us about, once again, the eternal machinations and the mechanisms of the administration Guys, I don't think that we know, obviously we don't know everything, but I really don't think they're telling us the full story here. And clearly, as we have just seen with that clip with Ted Cruz, just blatantly willing to, first of all, have the bravado to come on a show without any prior knowledge or background knowledge about the countries that he's discussing, but to go on and then just say and spill whatever it is that he said there with our involvement in the strikes. The willingness they will have to lie to our face and then switch to his different mask and say, well, actually, it was Israel that's doing this, not us. And Tucker Carlson, with his journalistic acumen, clearly pointed out and said, well, you just said it was us. So what do you mean it's Israel? They are straight up willing to lie to us. And once again, we're all aware of this. This is not novel to us. But don't believe everything you hear about what's happening in the Middle East right now. Okay? And I don't know if I'm willing to believe everything that Donald Trump says at this point. So probably just a bad reaction to Botox, right? Wrote Barney Styles. Yeah, I saw people make that joke as well online. It is probably just a bad reaction to Botox, right? She has a lot more than just Botox there. Prayers to her and her family, not just because she is hot. Not just because she is hot. Yeah. Christine, I'm hot. Well, I'm a girl, so I'm not going to understand that, but I suppose that makes, I guess I can see where you're coming from. Entropy Nomad, odds are 1 out of 4 of having an allergic reaction. Most of the people that died of bee stings died young and saved us from passing on inferior genetics. Evan Rowan, welcome to the chat. You are not necessarily late. We are just having live coverage of the World War III that is happening. Oh, look at this, everybody. Charlie Kirk decided to chime in on this. 86% of Americans don't want Iran to get a nuclear weapon. 60% of Americans don't want U.S. involved with Iran. This is primarily the outcomes that I've seen with a lot of polls on platforms like Twitter. It's about 60-40. Is it like a big difference? No, but it is a majority. The majority of Americans don't want this to happen, clearly, and so I think he rightfully, this is a clear assertion that he's making, inaccurate assertion that he's making here. Only a statesman of the highest order can navigate a situation like this. Trump is made for this moment, is he now? I don't know. I don't know what he's meaning here, because it seems like because of Trump's decision-making skills here, we are entering a war into Iran. So I don't exactly know what Charlie Kirk is saying here. 60% of Americans, the majority of Americans don't want a war with Iran, except the boomers. Clearly. I kind of want to talk last on this, maybe end on this note here. Well, actually, first let's go to trending news, shall we? What is this? 9 minutes ago, large mushroom clouds seen after an explosion in eastern Tehran. This is from the destruction of the Kojir missile development complex located near the Parchin facility. Look at that mushroom cloud, you guys. What else we got here? This is not Gaza, this is Tel Aviv. The current situation in Palestine. No one is talking about the current hunger situation in Palestine. This is just a pro-Palestine post. Where is humanity? Hoping Israel and Iran war soon gets over and that Khamenei terrorists should be killed. Oh, this is fitting. Anyways, And we need more likes, you guys. We only got 4 on my tweet. What is going on, you guys? Now, I don't want to be spoiled here. I don't want to be spoiled. I am thankful for every like that I can get on Twitter. What, of course. But let's bump these numbers up, okay? Come on, let's bump these numbers up. Look, I understand that I'm up against, what are we up against? We're up against Alex Jones today on the egg stream. We're up against Diamond and Silk. That's quite the competition. Ethan Ralph is on. Tim Pool was on earlier. David Pollack, he has smaller numbers than I do. I know I'm up against quite a lot, but let's like and share the stream to get more people watching, and let's like my tweets, everybody. Okay? I did want to... Hey, where is it? I did want to bring attention to this tweet I made earlier. I'm not promoting my tweet. Stop. Get off the screen here. Will we ever have an American first president in our lifetimes? I know I asked this question on stream already earlier here today, but I want to ask you guys again. When will this happen? I thought it was Trump. It clearly isn't. And when I say America first, I really do mean, and I'm not one of these neocons, these fake well, they're actually real Republicans at this point, the fake nationalists, fake, the fakery of the modern populist movement that has become what it is and embodied the Republican Party and has now ultimately become the Republican Party. The fakery of it, relying on the idea that we are an isolationist movement and that we are America first. If we really are America first, why are we, as David said, Israel's pit bull? Now, I don't like pit bulls, and I don't want to be characterized as one, and I certainly don't want our country to be characterized as one. But we were once considered the decision makers within the internationalist system. And I would like to think that we could still remain in that position. But when it becomes more and more clear that we are not the decision makers in our system anymore, if anything, we allow others to make decisions for us. And where our foreign aid goes, and where our resources go, and where our tax dollars go, and where the bodies of the people of our nation goes, and how it will be utilized and how expendable it is, we're not decision makers at all. If anything, we've lost that role quite a bit ago. And we should be characterized as such any longer. Someone already liked, another person liked my tweet. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. There was one other thing. There was one other thing I wanted to cover before I get off here today. Israel is our pit bull, says Barney Styles. Do you really think so, Barney? Do you really think that? Barney, do you come on? Do you really think that the way things are unfolding right now that Israel's our pit bull? Bibi was pushing Trump to get involved multiple times throughout the last week. I don't know if I'd say that, but I don't know. But since October 7th attack, our pit bull has been off the leash. Interesting. Okay. Don't worry, I'm not paid by Qatar, says JJ. Well, I sure hope not, JJ. What does Mario Nofal say about this? Exclusive, the best analysis on the war and what comes next. What is this? I don't know if I'm watching this, Mario. This is like an hour and 26 minutes. There was one more thing I wanted to play. What was it? I'm trying to remember. Thank you, Protestantism, for bringing us into World War III. What is this? What is this? What is this? What am I looking at here right now? Donald Trump posted this on Truth Social. From Mike Huckabee, a pastor, politician, ambassador, and great person. Mr. President, God spared you in Butler, Pennsylvania, to be the most consequential president in a century, maybe ever. Man, talk about an ongoing text here. Okay. Our decision. Do you think? By the way, do you think Donald Trump left Mike Huckabee on red on this one? I don't know. Maybe. The decisions on your shoulders, I would not want to be made by anyone else. You have many This is a text sent by Mike Huckabee to Donald Trump, everybody. I don't know when this was sent. This was posted earlier today, 3 hours before the stream. You have many voices speaking to you, sir, but there is only one voice, one is spelled in all caps, that matters. His voice, in all caps, his voice. I am your appointed servant in this land, and am available for you, but I do not try to get in your presence often because I trust your instincts. No, I trust your instincts. No, I'm sorry. Because I trust your instincts, there's a split here. No president in my lifetime has been in a position like yours. Not since Truman in 1945. I don't reach out to persuade you. I only encourage you. I believe you will hear from heaven, and the voice is far more important than mine or anyone else's. You sent me to Israel to be your eyes, ears, and voice, and to make sure our flag flies above our embassy. My job is to be the last one to leave. I will not abandon this post. Our flag will not come down. You did not seek this moment. This moment sought you. It's my honor to serve you, Mike Huckabee. This person wrote in the comments, no mention of prayer or wisdom, Jesus, repentance, just a presumption of manifest destiny. Protestantism has nothing to do with this. By the way, I'm not going to stand by that. Okay, this is what I'm going to say. Anyone in this neocon eschatology that Alex Jones coined, I really like that. Or that's the first time I've heard that term, that phrase. The neocon eschatology about God blessing us first if we bless Israel, or whatever that verse is an entire misinterpretation of that verse. And I am a Protestant, and I'm saying this, is that there has been a new covenant since Jesus Christ came here, died, and rose again, okay? We do not need to appease or appeal to the Jewish people to be a functioning country, to be an exceptional country, or to be saved. And that's all I'm going to say about that. That's what I believe. And, if you are a Christian, I encourage you to perhaps interpret Scripture in a similar way and read Paul again, because this concept, and David has said this earlier on the stream here today, this concept and this mindset, the pro-Zionist mindset that we have in America that has penetrated and imbued every aspect of evangelicalism in the country, regardless of what you think religiously or spiritually or what matters to your soul, in the end, politically, it is dangerous for us, and it is leading us towards paths of war. And I dare say it's actually inaccurate to interpret Scripture that way. It has nothing to do with your salvation, and it has nothing to do with the success of our country. And if anything, what I'm seeing from this standpoint today is that if we feed into this narrative and interpretation of Scripture, it's actually going to lead us down a path of destruction, internationally and domestically here in our country. And that's all I'm going to say about that, okay? So, okay, everybody, this has been quite the eventful stream. Thank you for joining. Entropy Nomad writes, Mike B sucking that chrome off that trailer hitch clean. Very true. Very true. Very Jeffersonian, writes Entropy Nomad, perhaps. Let me find that verse. Where is it? Isn't it a Genesis verse? What do we have here? Yeah, it was when God spoke to Abraham. Genesis 12:3, where God promises Abraham that he will bless those who bless him and curse those who curse him. The promise is a core part of the Abrahamic covenant. This is a defining question of modern politics today, isn't it? Here's a Bible Hub verse of it. It's a Bible verse, but on BibleHub.com. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you I will curse, and all peoples on the earth will be blessed through you. Isn't it a startling statistic that American Zionists here in America far surpass those in Israel? Very interesting statistic. And I just don't know how helpful it is in the like I said, the political longevity and political integrity, national integrity for the United States. Policing the world is not something that we should be putting our resources towards. I think we were on a very good trajectory with the mass deportations that have been happening, and at least bringing us to an equilibrium in our country, economically speaking. But this is just going to bring us into a whole other state of disequilibrium, that we just don't need right now. A complete burning of our resources. And a large part of that has been manifested through and carried upon this interpretation of Scripture in Christianity. And I personally find that extremely confusing. And once again, I do believe it's all based on a misinterpretation of what Scripture means by that. So it has been proven largely unhelpful to the success and the progression of the United States. But I don't know. I could be all wrong. Maybe this is the right way to go about this. Maybe there's some key piece of information that we're unaware of that has pushed Trump to this into the position that we are in right now. So I very well could be wrong, and I really do hope that I am wrong. Versions that oh my gosh, the Bronze Age pervert tweets are not good for my timeline. Versions I use of the Bible for reference: Legacy Standard, English Standard, New King James. I used to use King James a lot. I went to Christian school and I used King James quite frequently. That's all I ever used. And then I got a hold of the Message. And say what you want about the Message. I know there's a lot of here's getting my mouth. I know there's a lot of jokes being had at the expense of the Message version. Personally, when I was a teenager, I found it quite interesting and helpful. Okay, but at this point, I just use NKJV. Or just English Standard as well, JJ. So, Entropy Nomad just uses traditional KJV. Very cool. Well, you guys, I do believe I'm going to start wrapping it up here. The Message is not a translation. It ain't legit, writes JJ. Very clear. I don't use it as much anymore. I still have a copy. I actually can see it from here on my bookshelf, but I haven't used it in a while. But I do need to read the Bible more. So, and I really do think most of us need to read the Bible more, especially in these trying times. Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up here, you guys. I do want to thank you so much for joining the Culturama stream. I really do appreciate it. I completely forgot to go on the AP for Liberty page, the AP for Liberty shop, but you guys know where to go. After this is over, after this stream is over, go to ap4libertyshop.com. Once again, that is ap4 libertyshop.com, and purchase yourself a bag of Atomic Blonde coffee. Buy yourself a bag of Atomic Blonde coffee for that male vitality that you need. for that male vitality that you need to get through the workday. And that will go a long way in supporting the stream as well. I am, of course, a humble coffee merchant, and I would very much appreciate your guys' financial help in that regard. But on that note, I'm going to say my outro, and I will bid you all a farewell and a good night. Once again, I will not be streaming on Thursday, and I will not be streaming this coming Saturday. But a week from today, next Tuesday, I will be back on a regular scheduled programming. And I do thank everyone for joining me here today. So let me get the outro music started and we can wrap it up here.
In the heart they gather strong, pushing back the lefty's throng. With the red banner held high.
Thank you so much, Entropy, for the safe travels. Everyone, let's reclaim the zeitgeist in America once again so we can not only battle against the tenets and the infection of postmodernism or progressive ideology, but so that we could also fight against the foreign entanglements that has been infecting our country and the integrity of our country thus far. Let's reclaim the zeitgeist, let's reclaim the discourse, and keep fighting towards greatness, everyone. I hope you have a great, safe rest of your nights. Enjoy your families, enjoy yourselves and your friends, and let's just have a relaxing evening, everyone. God bless you, and good night. Oh, wrong scene. Hold on. There we go. Good night, everybody.
Shadow by, we find our strength and take our pride. Let the voices echo loud, tearing through the waiting crowd. We've got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down. Across the plains and mountains tall, hear the victory call. With courage and with might we strive in the light of freedom's sky. We got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the